So these are the properties we did yesterday. Distributive, combine like terms. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. This is where you spent most of your time last night. Yeah? We're going to add the other two today. Okay? Are you ready? I have 10 examples for you. So we're going to do 10 problems together. 62 equals negative 4m minus 6. Again, what should your ultimate goal be with every single one of these problems?
Wait, I can't see the top one.
What should your ultimate goal be with every single one of these problems? Get the variable by itself. Get the letter alone. Now, in this, I technically have 4 terms. I have 3 terms. I have a 62, I have a negative 4m, and I have a negative 6. 2 of those terms are like terms. Which 2 are like terms? 62 and negative 6. Those ones are like terms because neither of them have a letter, correct? So my first step is to get those like terms together. However, I need to be strategic in the way that I get them together because I want to move them not just together but away from the letter also. So am I going to move the 62 over here or am I going to move the 6 over to the left? I'm going to move the 6. How can I move the 6? It's subtraction. I need to use addition. So I'm going to add 6. What property is that? Addition, property of equality. So that cancels. I have negative 4m on this side. And what's 62 plus 6? 68. Is m by itself yet?
No.
So what do I do? Divide by negative 4. What property am I using there? Division, property of equality. So I'm not just using one of the properties like I did yesterday. I'm using at least 2 of them. And then 68 divided by negative 4. Let me just verify. 68 divided by negative 4. Negative 17. My letter is by itself. There's my answer. There are my 2 properties. Okay? So? Yes? No?
Yes.
All right, number 2. Negative 21 equals 8x minus 5. What are my like terms that I need to combine first? Negative 21 and negative 5, right? Which one am I going to move if I ultimately want to get x by itself? Okay, how do I get rid of the negative 5? Add 5. That gives me 8x over here, and negative 21 plus 5 is negative 16. What property did I just use? Addition, property of equality. And now what am I going to do? Divide by, and dividing by 8 on both sides is my division property of equality. And what do I get? X equals negative 2. Okay, so that's a basic 2-step equation. Now I'm going to show you several different ways that these can look. Okay, so problem number 3. Six times p minus 6 equals negative 114. I could start off with the distributive property. However, if I can do something else first, it will actually take me fewer steps to get to my answer. Remember, these are 2-step equations. I could use distributive property. That would make it a multi-step. But if I was able to get rid of this 6, my life would be a lot easier. Because if I was able to get rid of this 6, I just have p minus 6, so I would just add 6 to both sides, right? So how is the 6 being connected to the parentheses? By addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? What cancels out multiplication? So I can actually divide both sides by 6 using which property? Division property of equality. And that gives me p minus 6 left on this side. And on this side, negative 114 divided by 6 is negative 19. When would I not want to divide by that number? And when would I want to use the distributive property instead? When this does not divide nicely. Because if this doesn't divide nicely, I'm going to be dealing with either a fraction or a decimal, and it's just going to get messy. So if this doesn't divide nicely, go ahead and use the distributive property, but if it does, then we're good there. I have one more step. What's my next step? Add 6, using which property? So P equals, what's negative 19 plus 6? Negative 13. So? Okay. You try this one. Negative 120 is equal to negative 10, parentheses, n minus 2. I want you to try that one. You got it? What am I going to do first? Divide by what? Negative 10. And I can do that first because this side divides nicely. What property is that? Division property of equality. So what's negative 120 divided by negative 10? Positive 12 equals what? N minus 2. What's my next step? Add 2. What property is that? So 12 plus 2 is 14. Over here my 2's cancel out and I have n. There's my answer. So for every problem I should see 2 properties and I should see an answer. Yes? Now, as these problems continue to get more difficult or more complex, I will say this, no matter how disorganized of a person you are, if you can keep your work organized, it makes these problems a lot easier. The more organized you can stay, the more lined up you can stay, the easier these problems are. It just works out that way. Okay? If you're just writing stuff all over and it looks like chicken scratch and you've got plus something over here and it gets really crazy and really hard to follow your work. Okay? For both me and you. All right, next one. Let's look at this one. A over 2 minus 7 equals 2. This one is actually more like the first problem in that I have 2 like terms that I need to get together. What are my like terms? Negative 7 and 2. Which one am I going to move if I want to get A by itself? So how do I move the 7? Add 7 using which property? Addition property of equality. Okay, so I have A over 2 equals what? 2 plus 7 is 9. What am I going to do next? How do I get rid of a denominator? Multiply both sides by what? 2. So A equals 18, and what was the property I just used? Multiplication property of equality. So? All right, you try this one. Negative 10 equals x over 2 minus 8. All right, what do I do first? Add 8 because it's a like term with that 10. What property is that? Addition property of equality. Negative 10 plus 8 is what? Negative 2 is equal to x over 2, and those 8's cancel. All right, how am I going to get x by itself? Multiply by 2. Over here, I'm going to multiply this guy by 2. So what am I using there? What property? Multiplication property of equality. And let's see, my 2's cancel there. What's 2 times negative 2? My answer is x equals negative 4. Any questions so far? We're just zooming right through this, aren't we? How many problems did I say we had? 10. So here's number 7. 7 and 8 are similar, and then 9 and 10 are similar. So I have 2 more types of problems to show you. Okay? 1 is equal to 7 plus v all over 21. How's this different than the other one? The one I just did. The one I just did had a fraction, but I had a number that wasn't a part of a fraction. Here, everything's a part of the fraction, which means what do I need to get rid of first? The fraction. So how am I going to get rid of the fraction? Multiplied by what? The denominator, 21. What property is that? Multiplication property of equality. So let's see, the 21 is going to cancel, so I'm left with 7 plus v. And over here, what's 21 times 1? 21. All right, what's my second step? What am I subtracting? So I subtract 7 from both sides using the subtraction property of equality. What is 21 minus 7? 14 equals what? V. And there's my answer. Easy peasy. Okay. You try number 8 here. Negative 6 plus x all over 3 equals 3. What do I do first? Multiply both sides by 3, right? What property is that? Multiplication property of equality. 3's cancel, leaving me with negative 6 plus x equals what? 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Now what? Add 6. What property is that? Okay, so I have x equals what? 15. All right, we ready for the last 2? Number 9. This almost looks like a one-step equation, doesn't it? What am I going to do first? I will get people that ask me if I add 19. Now I want you to remember that the sign always goes with the number behind it. So this minus sign is with what? The P. What's the sign of the 19? Positive. So I need to subtract to get it to cancel out. So which property is that? SPO, or the SPO. So I'm left with what? Negative P is equal to what? What? 9? Is P by itself? What do I need to do? divide by -1. We did that one yesterday, right? That's the division property of equality. So my negatives cancel and I'm left with P equals what? -9. So. Last problemo. -20 is equal to -8 minus K. You try that one. Remember, I need 2 properties for each one, and I need an answer. All right, help me out here. What should I do first? Add 8. What property is that using? Addition property of equality. So my 8 cancels out there. I have -K on the right. And what do I have on the left? -20 plus 8 is -12. Now what do I do? Divide by what? -1. Don't divide by 1. There's no reason to divide by 1. Dividing by 1 doesn't do anything, right? Dividing by -1 gets those negatives to cancel out. What property is that? Division property of equality. And -12 divided by -1, I get K equals +12. Any questions? All right, happy studying.